I want to tell you a story of a people who are answering a deeper calling inside of them, walking a path in a reverent way, who are learning to listen in an ancestral way to the land, to that greater dreaming we are all part of us, dreaming through us, who are courageously doing the inner work, soul tending, grief tending, tending to the inner fire, going through the traditional rites of passage. This is our story of the Tree of Totems Spiritual Wilderness School and Cultural Community as we came together in the hoop year of 2021. This video is to honor these courageous souls and the path they have walked. Before we begin, it is our custom in our community and imparted to us from the Iroquois. We share the words that come before all else. These are the words of thanks. Please join us in heart and mind in this prayer of gratitude. We give thanks for the land and all the ancestral knowledge, songs, and stories the land holds and shares so generously with those willing to put their ear to the ground, to the winds and waters, and listen and pray. We give thanks for all those who've come before us and kept these ancestral knowledge and endangered rememberings alive, despite opposition, persecution, or the solitude of their path, no matter what lands or part of the world you come from, what culture, we give thanks. We give thanks for the hoop year, 2021, for all that has been learned, for all the healing, all the growth. We give thanks for the connections made, for the unteachable learnings received, for walking our path together in a reverent and joyful way. We give thanks to all those who come before us and for all who are walking in a sacred way with us, wherever you may be in the world. We give thanks. Their story begins out in the wilderness of Washington State, at the base of Mount Tahoma, which translates as the Mother of Waters, today known as Rainier. We slept there within the emerald forest, in rain and in snow, and these courageous souls learned in more traditional ways, through wilderness rites of passage, how to greet their fears, expand beyond their edges, and learn to navigate the inner terrain of soul so they may in turn be able to mentor and guide others. This is our shadow guide training, and now our guide team for Tree of Totems. Traditional rites of passage is to venture outside your comfort zone, to be forced to come into direct contact with your strengths, to apply what you've learned, to gain the experiential knowledge of navigating the inner terrain. These are some of the most courageous, heart-centered people I know. And then the winters came. We entered the Dreaming Lodge at Bear, where we attuned ourselves to that sacred otherness and the ancestors. There's an old knowledge of having to earn relationship with the sacred others, to earn entrance into these endangered knowledge and forgotten things, where we're willing to be uncomfortable, where instead of calling out the spirits to us, we're willing to go into the wild to their home, knock on their door and lay our offerings on their altar. So we attuned ourselves to the wild, to that silence, learned to be in ceremony and prayer, to grief tend in other ways, to learn how to be stewarded by the sacred others and the ancestors as they help us remember ourselves home. And then winter gave way to spring, and we journeyed down from Tahoma down to Waiest, Mount Hood, where we entered the sweat lodge and learned to be in ceremony and ritual. And we learned the significance of story and how story connects us with the land and each other and weaves us into a deeper way of remembering and being in the world. And then the time came for their final initiation. where they're going to have to apply all that they learned and experienced, to be tested to their core. So we journeyed out into the desert of the Oregon Badlands, where they went through the ancient rites of passage, vision quest. Each person walked off into the wilderness of that desert, 1,600-year-old juniper, and they sat alone for 3 days and 3 nights. They drummed, they prayed, they let that silence and stillness claim them. And their vision of who they are and the gifts they have to come into the world was woven into their being, and they emerged anew. Then the seasons changed to summer, and for the solstice, we all gathered together in our tribe, Tree of Totems. People came from far, from Austin, Texas, to New Hampshire, and Utah and Colorado, throughout the Northwest. And we gathered together to celebrate the year, to be in ritual and ceremony, to celebrate this life, to honor that while we do the deep inner work, to remember the sense of play, the sense of laughter, the sense of togetherness. And then the time came for me to be claimed by a piece of land. I've been drumming and praying for a land to claim me, to steward me where we can come together as a community. And these lands up upon Lake Wenatchee called me, these rivers and these lakes. So we came together as a people to celebrate, to live in that togetherness as a village, to celebrate the beauty of this life, to relish in the beauty making of nature and live what the Navajo call wholesome, walking in beauty.
Magic.
Wow.
Whoa.
During the winter, I asked Bear to show up in the summer that I may apprentice the bear. Then for over a month I had 2 to 3 bear encounters every single day. Such a gift to apprentice to bear. And then our season in the summer began to wrap up, when it's time to shift into the next descent. As the sun breaks open into the day, I welcome the sun. Welcome to the day. And I give thanks for all this day will bring. The new conversations, the new understandings, the new grief, the new ways I will be touched by this life. I give thanks. And as autumn came and adorned the forest in their colorful garments, people from all over gathered on the land to prepare the fire structure. People came and brought their talents and their gifts. Milled lumber from wood on the land. It was built with prayer and love and laughter, so that we can gather together as a village in the traditional ways, or through ritual and storytelling, stirring the remembrances yet held in our bone memory of how to live in a good way. And so we bring the year of 2021 to a close, and we give thanks. We give thanks for all the connections made, the new learnings, the growth and healing. And we give thanks for all that the year 2022 will bring us, the new friendships and stories, the new healing and growth. We give thanks for the sacredness of our community. We give thanks. Om.